Hi everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. If you're new, welcome, and if you are not, thanks for coming back. Today we're just going to get into it. I have been approached several times online discussing the fact that I'm a sunrise mom and wanting to know information, and so I realized I haven't actually done a review of the Sunrise online program yet, and I thought that it might help answer just some general questions, but also help people get where I'm coming from and help them decide whether they want to look into it or not, all of that fun stuff. So the one thing I have to say before I say anything else is that I am in no way, shape, or form affiliated or sponsored by the Autism Treatment Center of America. They don't know I'm doing this, and they're welcome to watch it. I don't mind, but yeah, I am not being paid to say any of this. So when I first heard about the Sunrise program, I was almost drowning in I have to homeschool. I was kind of thrust into homeschooling by my son's school, and I was just treading water trying to make sure that I didn't screw up his chances for college and university, really not understanding what homeschool was about or anything like that, just that I was now the teacher and I needed to do all of this by myself. And so that first year, I was doing homeschool to the best of my ability, but I kept hitting the wall of Darrion's autism. And I'm going to put down our homeschool story down in the description box below if you're interested in finding out about that. I'm just looking down on my notes because I want to maintain, not go off tangent or on a tangent. Yeah, I don't want to go on a tangent. So I kind of hit a wall of Darrion's autism and some of my own ideas and how I was dealing with stuff. And so I knew I needed some sort of home-based program to help Darrion, not fix or control or anything like that, but just help him grow in certain areas. Doing homework and school and stuff like that. What's the deal here? And so I should say the way I heard about this Sunrise program was my facilitator for homeschool. She had a child with autism, and she was a Sunrise mom as well. So that's how I heard about it, and I completely ignored her for a year because I was like, I don't want to do this and I don't want to screw him up. So I looked into the Sunrise program after I realized that I needed this home-based therapy. And so the three things that I first saw, I'm going to link down below for you as well. The first one was a talk by Ron K. Kaufman at the Autism Canada something or other in 2014. Now, if you watch that, it is online on YouTube. If you watch that, the online program wasn't a thing yet, and so it is a thing now, just so you know. I watched the movie that was done about the whole how the program started. I will link that below as well. And I also read his book called Autism Breakthrough. And overall, it confirmed things I thought I knew about autism and my son, just being in that space over and over and over again. My intuition, I never felt that I could completely trust, and it took me a long time to learn that some of the people who presented themselves as knowing what to do didn't necessarily know what to do. And so if I saw something not working, I was like, well, it's not working. And they're like, but this is the way it has to be done. And sometimes I allowed for that because I did not trust my own instincts. And then things that I didn't know, it logically explained. And so then I was able to go, oh, okay, so that makes sense now. And these are the things that I could do differently to help Darrion deal with this, that, or the other thing. And so that was literally why I bought the online program. I was so thankful because traveling to Sheffield, Massachusetts was not an option for us for several different reasons. And so having the online program was wonderful. And my facilitator, having done her own Sunrise program, really was beneficial and was able to help me pay for it with my son's homeschool fees, which made it entirely possible for me. So now on to the review. So I'm going to hit the cons first, mainly because I think it's important to understand what kind of organization we're dealing with. So with a program like ABA, that's been a program that has been developed over decades with people working with autism in institutions and in school systems and whatever, and it has developed, and I'm not applying any judgment or anything like that, but it is a part of the medical system and the school system, and that's just how it is. It's why we know so much about, or it's one of the things we hear first when we hear your child has autism. Here are the ABA people in your area or whatever. It's the one that's first offered to us. With the Autism Treatment Center of America, this was developed by parents. And they did try to share with the medical system, but were rejected. And that being said, there are more and more people starting to look into medical papers and reviews and stuff like that, and I'll try and link one or two down below as well. And then there are some medical doctors who are championing it, saying that this is important. Generally speaking, they're parents who end up having a child with autism that end up really liking this program. And I have found the doctors who kind of go, generally don't have a child with autism. So make up your own mind about how you feel about that. So the few things that I would say are cons is because they're a nonprofit organization, and they do run their programs just to pay for the people who are working for them. At the beginning of the online program, you do get a couple of phone calls seeing how you're doing and asking any questions, and then it kind of tapers off and disappears. And if you want more information as your program changes and your child does something different, you do have to pay for consultations. And I find them really expensive, but I'm also a cheapskate. No, I'm frugal. I do find it a little bit more expensive, and so that's just one of the cons for me. And it's in US dollars too, so because I'm in Canada, you have to figure out what the exchange rate is, which adds more cost to it. Because you're doing it online too, you are it. You are the one running the program, you're driving it. And like I said in my last video, it can be negative because there's not that support system. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's a con as well, or a pro as well. The other thing I would say is if you've read Autism Breakthrough and you've watched some of the things I had mentioned earlier, the beginning of the program can seem really simplistic and repetitive. Now, I understand why it is that way. This program is built for everybody, every parent around the world. And I don't even know if they have it in different languages or if they're working on it. I don't know that. But it has to be pretty simplistic, especially at the beginning, to get that information. So if you do end up buying the program, it is a little bit of a slog at the beginning because they're trying to talk to such a broad, wide audience. the information that you want is going to be in the middle and towards the second part of the program. So don't let that dissuade you, but I just wanted to give the warning, the heads up right away. So I talked about two things as cons. We're going to talk about them as pros now, because we're in the pro section. The first one was you're by yourself. And that is actually a pro as well as a con. The pro of that is I spent a great many years, 2.5 years, just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting to get what Darrion needed from the school, from a medical system, various different things. I spent a lot of time fighting and enduring looks and trying to share information with people who had shuttered eyes and were going to ignore me anyway. And it was such sweet relief when I didn't actually have to do that anymore. That wasn't something that I needed. That wasn't a fight I needed to take on. Now all of my energy gets put into the process of helping my child instead of trying to help my child but fight against people who do not understand. The other thing that I mentioned as a con, but is also a pro, is that we aren't dealing with a big corporation, big company where money and dollars are a big part of it. So if you're in the school system, having your child diagnosed as autistic means dollar signs for that school. If he needs anything, therapies, that's money for the medical system. That is all taken away when it comes to the Autism Treatment Center of America. They really truly are just trying to get this information out to parents that there's another option available and it's not all doom and gloom. Imagine that. When I talk about the fact that extra information down the road costs extra money, the one thing that I will say is they have made allowances for something called a Facebook online group. So people who have bought in the online program, they have the ability to, and that video is really loud, I'm sorry. YouTube, how sometimes the volume is like crazy loud and really quiet. Apparently we're on a loud video right now. The biggest thing is that they have a Facebook group that you can join, and then you can ask questions. Now sometimes they are answered by one of the teachers who pays attention to that, and a lot of times it's a lot of parents going, this was my experience, this is what we did in this situation. So there is a free version of getting more information if you are so inclined. They do have scholarships as well. So one of the things, I don't know if they call it a scholarship as well, but people send them money to help parents who can't afford to come to get information. So we were gifted, because we are a low-income family, we were gifted $200 off of our online program, which made it significantly more affordable for us, and it allowed it to fit within the money that the government pays for my curriculum choices. The other thing, where did I put those papers? Oh, of course I lost them. Anyway, the main big pro that I have for the online program and the Sunrise program in general, whether you go to the in-person or stay on the online program, is their developmental model. So in another video I talked about how I never taught my girls how to talk. They just did. And so trying to teach my son how to be conversational seemed like an epic mammoth task that I didn't even know where to start. And what the online program does and the in-person program does is they give you this developmental model. So they're talking about 4 different areas where children with autism really struggle with, and it's interactive attention span, that means talking and being with people, or interacting with people, I should say. Their verbal communication, eye contact, and flexibility or inflexibility. And you plot your child where that child is right now on the developmental model. Does he do this? Does he do that? And if the answer is yes, then the next thing on the list is your next goal. It's really straightforward and simple. It seems complicated when you first start, but it gives you a roadmap and a clear, this is what we're working on next. They tell you how to do it. They give you pointers on how to quiet a room so that, and if you're interested in any of that information, click on the video tab on my channel, and I have a whole bunch of videos on his room. Okay, bring it to mom. I have a whole bunch of videos on his sunrise playroom and all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to pause you for just 1 second. So, pasta has been salted, we're all good. The developmental model and any of the videos that you want. I don't go into detail on the developmental model because that is part of the program, but anything that I've done specifically with the Sunrise program, I talk about different games I use. I talk about his playroom and stuff like that, how I've adapted and changed it based on Darrion's needs. And yeah, it's just what happens if your child doesn't want to go in the sunrise room. That is all different videos that I have made over the course of starting this channel, and they are all available to you. They also have, so they give you that information, and then they give you an 8-week after course, which helps you kind of focus each week on different things. So different principles. So one of the principles is recognizing red lights and green lights. When is your child able to learn and when they're not? What does that look like? And so then they're like, on this week, you're really, really focused on looking at your child and making sure you recognize when your child's able to take in new information and when they're not. And then they also give you different games that you can play throughout the program or the week. This is a loving and logical program that gives you permission to enjoy your child again. Once you get that diagnosis of autism, often it comes with this negative, your life is never going to be the same, and all the things you hope and dream for your child are different. And in a way, yes, those things are true. You do need to give yourself an understanding of, okay, this is going to look different than it does, but it's not all doom and gloom. And that's what this program does, is it says you love your child so very much. You are the only one who is completely motivated by wanting them to do the best that they can and have the best life that they can. And to many other people, it's a job, it's a paycheck, it's I have to go to work, so I'm going to do it. And not that there aren't people who love their job and want to do that, but there are others who don't. And so this program really empowers you to take or to understand and be willing to accept that, you know what, I'm not powerless, I'm not unable to affect change in my child because I didn't go to school for ABA for however long they have to do that for. I will link down below the Autism Treatment Center of America. I will link down below the online program so you can kind of get a feel of that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me down below in the description box. Chances are your questions will be other people's questions as well. If you are on Facebook and you see me there, feel free to ask those questions. And if you are interested in Facebook Live, let me know. I'll try and figure out how to set it up for the people who aren't on Facebook groups. I will try and, or do a YouTube Live, whatever that is. So let me know what you guys think. If you're really interested, please let me know so that we can set that up. And please know that I'm not an expert. This is just a year and a half that I've been doing my Sunrise program. This is my thoughts, my reviews. So I hope you've enjoyed it. You found it helpful. Please, please, please feel free to ask questions below. And thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.